Hey Fee fam, welcome back to my channel where cooking becomes easy. It's your girl Fee, and if you're not yet a subscriber, what you really are doing? Hit that red subscribe button so you can be a part of my Fee fam. So guys, today I'm going to make curry mutton. So the first step in making your curry mutton, you want to make sure that you wash your meat. So what I normally do is to wash my meat with some tap water, and then I'm going to add some vinegar to cut the rawness. And after, I'm going to give it a final rinse. These are the seasoning and also veggies that I'll be using in my curry mutton. You just want to make sure that you get fresh veggies and fresh seasoning whenever you are cooking meat in general, because the fresher they are, the more flavor you'll get out in your dish. If you saw my curry chicken video, then you'll remember that I used two type of curry when I was making my curry chicken. So that's the same thing goes for all curry dish that I do. I always mix my curry, and my favorite of course is Easy Spice and Better Pack. To season my meat, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of meat seasoning, and I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of all-purpose seasoning. You know how much I love Maggie all-purpose seasoning. I put that in everything that I cook. Once it's meat, I'm going to add some Maggie seasoning in it. Now I'm going to go in with some finely chopped fresh ginger, and I'm using 1 tablespoon. Now I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of garlic, and this is fresh garlic. You can use a garlic powder if you have a garlic powder. I'm going to add some pimento seed. Pimento is as important to curry as it is to jerk, because pimento is one that helps to enhance the flavor, help to bring out the flavor in your curry or in your jerk. So you want to make sure that you always have some pimento. And I'm going to go in with some chopped onion and some escallion. So I'm also adding some thyme and some Scotch bonnet pepper to season my mutton. So guys, normally I don't care too much if the curry touches my hand, because it's 1, 2, 3 to clean off. Really, it's not a big deal. But once I'm using Scotch bonnet pepper, I'm going to make sure that I put my hand in a bag or in a glove, because the pepper will burn you. That's a whole nightmare right there. Trust me, if you're familiar with Scotch bonnet pepper, you know this ain't no joke. So I don't want to have the pepper burn in my hand, because it burns the hand more than how it burns your tongue or your lips, believe it or not. So what you want to do is make sure if you add your pepper, make sure to wear a glove on your hand, or use a spoon, or even use a Ziploc bag like myself. Don't just put your hands in it. So after you finish mixing the seasoning onto the mutton, what you're gonna do is to set it aside just to marinate for at least 15 minutes. So now I'm gonna go in with 1 tablespoon of oil, cooking oil, to burn my curry. You want to make sure that you use a small amount of oil when you're burning your curry for mutton, because mutton itself have a lot of fat on it. You see all that white parts you were seeing in the beginning of the video, that was actually fat onto the meat. So you want to make sure you don't use a lot of oil, because you don't want to have an oily gravy. So just use a small amount of oil. So what I did was to just mix my burnt curry onto my mutton. After I close the lid, I'm going to allow it to spring its own water. It was approximately 5 minutes after covering my pot so that it could steam, spring its own water from the mutton. So now I'm just going to add some hot water to my mutton and I'm just going to allow that to cook. So if you're following me for a while now, you will know that I don't boil my meat. My method of cooking meat, once it's on the stove, it is stewing. I always stew my meat. It don't really matter what I'm cooking. Once I'm cooking it on top of the stove, I'm going to stew it. So I always go in with a little bit of water here and there, allow it to cook, and then I add a little more water, and it's always hot water that I add to my meat. And it's the same thing that goes for my mutton. I'm just adding some hot water, allow it to steam, then add some more hot water until it's cooked. If this is your first time making mutton, you should know that it takes roughly 2.5 hours to 3 hours to prepare without using a pressure cooker. And this is why you want to stew your meat instead of boiling your meat, because when you stew it, what's gonna happen is gonna allow the meat to be tender, and all that herbs and spices that you have is gonna slowly infuse into the meat. This is my final step in preparing my curry mutton. What I'm going to do is to add the additional seasoning that I had, and also I went in with my vegetables, my carrot and my potato. So you just want to make this cook for roughly 5 minutes because you don't want to overcook your veggies. You still want your carrot to be crunchy, and you definitely don't want to overcook the potato because you don't want them to be mushy. So now that you're adding your seasoning and your vegetables, just go ahead and taste your meat or your gravy just to make sure that it have the flavor that you're looking for. If not, go ahead and add some additional powder seasoning or some salt to your pot. I almost forgot to mention, you will see a lot of oil that's settling in your pot after cooking your mutton, because if you remember in the beginning, you see a lot of white part in the meat. That was actually fat, and I didn't cut my fat out because I like the taste of the fat in my mutton. It may sound funny, but I like it in my mutton and my goats because the fat actually give a really nice flavor, if you didn't know. So I normally don't cut out my fat out of my goat meat or my mutton. So guys, this is the final product of my curry mutton. I truly enjoyed this dish. It was so tasty, and as you can see, it looks so good, but just imagine how that tastes. If you ever want to try my recipe, go ahead. The recipe will be in the description. But don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And guys, talk to me in the comment section. I truly appreciate talking to you guys there. Like, the best feeling is when a notification comes from YouTube. I love that. Like, I truly appreciate it. So I'll take the time to go there and read the comment, and I also reply to you guys. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.